Hello, my name is Edgar Antillon. I'm with Lagrange Point Media. Today, I want to make a quick-ish video about migrating a WordPress site from one host provider to another. This is something that I had to do recently for several websites that I have that are on WordPress. And I was moving from GoDaddy to another hosting provider. If you know, you know. But this idea or this issue or concept or whatever it is we want to call it came up about how to do it. What's the most efficient way to get my WordPress sites from one hosting provider to another? And obviously, if you search it, you're going to get plugins, you're going to get FTP and how to do all that stuff. Well, this is the way that I did it. It is a way to do it. I don't know if there's a best way in this particular context. Sometimes there is the best way to do it, but in this is one of those where there's different ways and they're just different ways of doing it. I don't necessarily say that this way is the most efficient way. It was for me in the particular circumstance that I was in the environment that I was in, but this is the way I did it. And essentially is just downloading the backup and re-uploading it to the new hosting provider. But at any rate, here's how I did it. Here's how I did it. Let me share my screen with you guys. And it is screenshots. It's not a video of how I did it. It's basically just screenshots. So I'm going to walk you through and hopefully the visuals will at least help you a little bit to understand how I did it and how I came about this. But at any rate, you go to your hosting provider and you make a backup. You go to your WordPress management. It might say on the side WordPress management. It might say Softoculus, and my particular thing is, or with GoDaddy, it said applications. Wherever it is that WordPress sites are managed on your cPanel or your control panel, go find it there and click on backup. As you can see here, I kind of have it highlighted as backup. So you click the backup. Once you have clicked on the backup, you'll get a screen that is similar to this, and it'll ask you for this information. Do you want it backed up to the web hosting account? Do you want it at a new location like a Google Drive, that type of stuff? In this particular case, I did add a label to it. That label being transfer. It was just for me, nothing else. This isn't super crucial. It is 100% optional, but that's the way that I did it, is just labeled it just for my reference. Once that happened and I had the backup, obviously you get the progress bar. If you notice up here, it says my backups. You want to understand where your backups are located. That's for obvious reasons, because once it's backed up, I want to go to the location of where my backups are at, and I want to download the file. In this particular case, if you remember, I labeled it transfer, and I did that to a lot of them because I transferred quite a few. And this is why I like to label them, is because I got several different ones. Now it's easy because of the date and the date stamp. So it's not super difficult to get confused because of again the date stamps. But for me, it was just one of those things that helps me out. But at any rate, I'm going to download that. It's going to create a file in your download folder, wherever that download folder may be. Once I have downloaded that and it's in my download folder, I want to understand where my database, what it's called. So once I understand what my database is called, and that could be done fairly easily. If you go back to your WordPress management, in one of these tabs in Installatron, it's actually settings in this little wrench icon. You click there and it gives you the information of, it gives you this page, is essentially this right here. How do you find your database name? And the only reason that's important is if you have multiple accounts. If you don't have multiple websites, then it kind of doesn't matter because you're only going to have one database. But once you know what the name of your database is, then it is then the next step, I'm sorry, is for you to go to phpMyAdmin. from your cPanel, go to phpMyAdmin. The reason I want to go to phpMyAdmin is I find out um, this is where your database is at. I'm sorry. This is where your database is at. And from here, you are going to go to the tab that says export. You're going to click export. In this particular case, on GoDaddy, the database was called Art by FE. So boom, right here, Art by FE. I found that. That's what it was called in, again, GoDaddy. And after that, very easy. Just click export as an SQL file. You will have several options, but just do it as an SQL file. Once you've exported it, it's once again going to download it. Now, you have two options once you go to your download folder. If you notice here, I'm kind of skipping a visual more than anything else. I'm not skipping a step, but I am skipping a visual. Once I've downloaded my SQL file, my database file, and once I've downloaded the actual website itself, the backup, you have the option of uploading the entire file just straight to the new website, or only uploading the WP content file. Regardless of which way you go, you're going to have to create a zip folder for it. So it's sometimes easier. I have run into hiccups. So if you notice here, that folder, the compressed folder, the one that's kind of covered up by this window, that is the website. That is artbyfe.com. I downloaded it. That is that folder, that backup, the entire thing. You can just use that and upload that. Sometimes it creates conflicts. At least in my experience, it creates conflicts because you're uploading everything into a new environment, and that may not be. It might clash on certain files. For me, it's always been a little bit smoother if I just take the WP content folder, and then compress that into a zip and upload that. So you could do either. I've done both. And again, I just seem to have more success in not having too many hiccups. And when I say hiccups, it's minor stuff, changing some words here and there and restructuring stuff. It's nothing major. The website doesn't break, but it's less for me to do. At any rate, I've now created that zip folder, that zip file, and then I'm also going to do that to the database. I'm going to do that same thing to the database. So I'm going to create a compressed folder. And that's very easy. Just right click on them and it'll say compress to, and then zip file. You will compress them into a zip file. This is, again, I'm going to do that to the database file, the SQL file. And I'm also going to do that to the WP content file. Again, if you want to do the whole website, then you don't have to do it because it's already a zip file for you. So at any rate, I'm going to move it along. I will have my files here. This is what I was talking about. It's already a zip compressed file. So if you just want to upload all of that, you don't have to go into extract it and then re-zip and all that stuff. So one slight step, but for me, solves headaches in the future or avoids headaches in the future. Once you've done that, then you go to your new hosting provider. For me, I moved from GoDaddy to InMotion, and from there, you're going to go to the domain tab. You're going to find the domain tab. The reason I want the domain tab is because I want to create on this cPanel. I want to create, well, a new domain. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm going to click on the domain. That's why it's underlined there. I don't know if you can tell, but it's underlined there for a reason. Once I'm in the domains, I'm going to create, click on create a new domain, and I will get this window. And once I get this window, I'm just going to enter the new website and structure it as you will, whatever you feel is necessary to. This is the way I typically structure them. And then from there, obviously, I'll have the new website is now, or the new domain will now be visible there. Once I've done that, I'm going to go to the WordPress management, whether it's WordPress Manager by Soft Oculus, or just the standard WordPress management that my new provider has. Again, yours may have Installatron, and might have another one, but at any rate, I just use the standard WordPress management for this step. I am a fan of Soft Oculus, but I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But for this step, I just use WordPress management. So I'm going to go to install a new WordPress website. Once I've gone to install a new WordPress website, I'm going to enter the information that it requires. It's really not that crucial, to be honest with you, what you entered, because right here I kept it in future investments. I didn't really add anything else to it. I didn't care about the username and password. That changed. It's not even the same anymore, but it's not super crucial. Username, password, if you want to keep do something to it so you remember it in case anything happens, probably not a bad idea. But again, it is not super crucial for you to change anything right now, because remember, your other file is going to override all of this stuff. So once I've done that, it's going to give me this page that says install complete. Once I've done that, I'm going to go back to the cPanel. Once in the cPanel, again, I'm going to start. I also have to create the database and all of that stuff. You could do it either way, but in my particular case, I went to the File tab. So I went to File Manager, and in the File Manager, I'm going to find the website and obviously open that. And remember that WP content folder that we created a zip file from, compressed it. This is what it's going to replace in your cPanel. And under your files and under your website folder, you will find WP content. It created that when you installed WordPress. Delete that one. You're going to delete it. I don't want it. I don't need it, because I'm going to replace it. So I'm going to delete that one. It's going to ask you if you're sure. And for me, I'm just going to click skip and trash, skip the trash and delete permanently. But that's completely up to you. And after that is again, I'm going to just delete it. WP config. I'm also going to delete that. Now you can just modify the WP config, or you can delete it. It's one of those, completely up to you, whichever one you want to do. In my particular case, I just delete it. Honestly, no real reason. It's very easy to modify the WP config. It's really easy to just change what you need to. It's one of those weird things that I do, and I understand it's weird, but I delete the WP config. So now I don't have those available to me anymore. And then I'm going to click upload. I don't know. I think I ran by this too fast, but now I'm going to click upload. And in my upload, I'm going to upload the WP content folder, the one that we created a zip folder for. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to upload that. Obviously, I'm going to get my progress bar. Once that happens, it's the zip folder, so it's not quite done yet. I have to extract it. So I'm going to right click, or you could go up to the top, and up at the top, it'll say extract. So I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going, or right click, and then I'm going to extract. Once you have extracted, it's going to ask you where you want it. So obviously that's where I want that. And it'll give you the information, the extraction results. And I'm going to upload again. I'm going to click upload once again. I'm hiding a lot of this stuff. It's not necessary for me to hide it. I understand it. I just kind of it's distracting sometimes when you see all kinds of file folders and all that stuff. But I want to hit upload again. And then now I want to upload the WP config file, the WP config file. It is a PHP file, so it's you don't have to create, you don't have to compress this one. You don't have to compress this one. At least for me, I've never had to compress it. So I'm going to upload from within the backup folder. Go to that. From within that folder, it's going to be a compressed file. Click that one and upload WP config. I'm sorry. once you've extracted it all, you'll be able to do that. That I've run into is if you don't extract it, it won't upload it. Some systems will upload it, even if it's from a compressed file. But at any rate, you want the WP config PHP file from your backup file that you downloaded earlier. It's a lot of words. So click that. Now I have that. Now I have the new WP config. I'm going to move it along. Oh, I'm going to edit it. Yeah. I'm going to click edit. And from here, because you want your database information, you want your database to match. So your password, your user, the database name, you want it to match in the um, SQL management. You want it to match your database. You want it to match your database, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit. In this particular case, InMotion has prefixes. GoDaddy didn't have a prefix, so before it was called Art by FE. Now it's something different, just because of the way that InMotion does it and all that. So, which I appreciate. I do like it because it's not very generic. It's got some uniqueness to it. But at any rate, make sure you get that information, because whatever is in your WP config folder has to match that database, or else it's not going to work out. So now I want to go to manage my database in the C panel, manage my database. So once you click on manage my database, boom, you're going to, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm now realizing that even creating this, I remembered that I kind of did the steps a little bit backwards. You first have to upload the database. So you actually have to go to phpMyAdmin and upload the database, because it has nothing if you can't manage your database, if there's no database for you to manage. So go to phpMyAdmin. I apologize for that. And in here, you're going to import. You're going to click import. And once you import the new file, I'm sorry, you have to find the database. Whoa. Long day. Sorry for that. You find the database that was created for this. So when you created the WordPress site in the new hosting provider, it's going to create a database. I want to find that in phpMyAdmin and find the files and drop them, essentially delete them. So I'm going to highlight all of these stuff, all of the files, and just simply drop them. Again, that's the same as deleting them. So I'm going to drop all of that stuff, and it's going to ask me if I'm sure. Obviously, I'm going to click yes, enable foreign key checks. I always do it just so I can check for additional stuff. So yeah, I do it. So now, are you sure? Do you really want to delete it? Yes, delete it. And it's going to delete all of that stuff. Now I want to import it. Now from that same, in that same database, I want to import everything. So I'm going to click on the import tab. I'm sure this time. I'm sure this time. I'm going to click the import and choose the file. On here, yeah, I'm going to choose that particular file. Boom. The compressed folder that I created from this SQL file. You need to compress it, or else it won't do it. And then you upload it. Once you upload it, you go through the whole progress bar. But now I want to go back to my WordPress management. In my WordPress management, I have to refresh the site, because remember, right now it's attached to the old database, all of that old information. Now that we've uploaded the new database and all that stuff and made sure that the information in WP config matches the new database, then you need to refresh this. So make sure the password, the names, all of that stuff, make sure it all matches, and then you click refresh. And then now you can see the actual website. So I don't know if you noticed the difference. Before, there was no real picture because it wasn't really, it didn't have anything because it was going to the old database. So now that the database and WP config are all updated, and it's all the database from the old hosting provider, your actual database, it looks like this now. It's actually reading something. You're still not completely done. I know it looks like you're done. You're still not completely done, because remember, you created a new URL or domain in this new cPanel. But now I have to go to the other, or to where I have my domain. In this particular case, I still have my domains at GoDaddy. I will eventually move those from that, but I want to go there and I want to change the IP address for this particular record. So you're going to go to your domain, you're going to go to your DNS manager, and under your DNS, click on that DNS, and your record. It's typically the very first record, the one that says @ you edit that one and you change the new IP address. The IP address is typically in your let me see if I can show you a picture here. If you're not familiar with this stuff, your actual IP address, it's usually off to the side right here on your cPanel. It's off to the right. It'll give you your IP address. So just take it from there and then insert it here in the value and then click save. Once you have done that, you will now, all of that traffic is being directed to your new site. Your domain is being, you can go to that website and it'll go to that new hosting provider. If you don't do that, it'll get stuck with the other one and then nobody can access your website. So once I'm here, I want to go to my new cPanel, my new hosting provider, and go to SSL TLS status, and essentially either use the free SSL that they provide. Most hosting providers right now are giving you an SSL. So in my particular case, we get auto SSL. So you just click run, and it'll automatically install an SSL to your domain. So in my particular case, I just hit SSL/TLS status, and that takes me directly to the auto SSL. And I just hit run. And once it runs, it creates that SSL. If not, contact your hosting provider so that you can get an SSL certificate for your website. Once you've installed the SSL certificate, regardless of how you do it, you now come into your website, and that you coming into your website could be done again from your WordPress management. That has a login button, and it'll take you right straight to it. Just log into your website. Once you've done your redirecting the IP address, redirecting it to your new hosting provider, to your new server. Once you have installed the SSL, then log into the back end of your WordPress site. And the reason you're going to do that is because now you should go to settings and go to permalinks. This is a pretty crucial step, actually. Go to settings, go to permalinks, and in permalinks, really all you're doing is clicking save changes, even if there are no changes. Basically, what ends up happening is that there is a potential of the way it was structured before conflicting with the way it's structured right now in terms of this right here, your permalinks. So in my particular case, I just kept it as custom base. So just products, just left it there. I didn't change much to it. All I did was quite literally just come in here and click on save. That's all I did. It just saved. And once I clicked save, I was done. I was done. There was nothing more for me to do. You will, if depending on the plugins that you have, you will have to obviously reconfigure some of them. I know for me on some of the sites, I have some login plugins. Some in all of these, I don't think we can see it here, but in all of these, I have WordFence. Big fan of WordFence. So get yourself some security plugins. But if you already have a security plugin that you're bringing over, you're probably going to have to reconfigure that to the new server because it has to learn the stuff from the new server and all that stuff. So there may be some other things that you have to do with plugins themselves. But it's from the website perspective, that's pretty much it. Is a kind of little recap is quite simply download your file, download your backup file. Um, you can keep it like that, or you can extract it all, and then your WP content, you make a compressed file from that. Download the database from the old hosting provider, make a compressed file out of that. Go to your new hosting provider, add the domain, install the WordPress site. Once you've installed the WordPress site, you'll have the folder for it. Go to that folder. In that folder, delete the old WP content and the I'm sorry, not the old one, but the one that it created, the WP content and the WP config. Delete those. Replace them with an uploaded version of your old stuff. That's basically all you have to do on that end. Make sure in the WP config that it matches the database of the new hosting provider. So the name, the user, the password, make sure that all is there. Go to your database or phpMyAdmin. In phpMyAdmin, delete all of the information that was created automatically when you installed the WordPress site and the new hosting provider. Drop all of those files. Import the files from your database. Once you've done that, make sure they're talking to each other. In my particular case, it has refresh, so refresh that again. Make sure they're talking to each other and it all works. Once you've done that, you are going to um, go into your where you have your domain and make sure it gets pointed in the right direction. Change the IP address, make sure it gets pointed in the right direction. Install your SSL certificate. Once you've done that, go to the back end of your WordPress site, go under settings, and make sure that you save the permalinks, the structure of the permalinks, regardless of how you do it. Just click save, and that'll kind of reconfigure and make sure that everything is working the way it should be working. Your subfolders in there, your home page, your about us page, it's actually redirecting. If you don't do that, you'll click it and you'll go to about us, and it'll give you something that you shouldn't get to, a 404 in some cases. In some cases, it just doesn't do anything. So that's why saving the permalinks and making sure that that gets taken care of is incredibly important in this particular case. So that is basically it. That is it. Hope this was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it wasn't a video. um I'm not very good at editing the videos and blurring the stuff that I need to blur. Sometimes I over blur and shit, I may find out that I didn't blur the stuff that I needed to blur. But at any rate, I hope it was useful. I hope that it kind of helped you out a little bit. And I'm going to try and make similar videos like this of stuff that I do. Lagrange Point Media, what we essentially do is we're a Me Too business. Essentially, it's myself, my wife. We do reseller hosting, so we do hosting, but with that comes basic brochure type websites. We'll develop a website for businesses that maybe you know how to create your own website, but you don't have the time or the know-how or whatever in depth. Maybe you know a little bit, but not to where you need. That's kind of where we come in. And in this, I've run into a lot of hiccups. I've run into a lot of server side stuff, and I want to document that. Like, what did I do to fix it? How did I go about the process? I don't have an IT background. I don't have a background in graphic design. I'm not a software developer or anything like that. I've just kind of taught myself on how to develop websites and how to change them to fit my needs and what I want, and the feel, the look, the back end stuff. So with that, I've learned a little bit of coding, not a ton, but enough to help me with all of this stuff. So I want to document it. So I hope it helps. And if you have anything that I missed or anything that you think is helpful, obviously put it in the comments. A like would be super awesome. This is the first video that I'm making for this channel, so a like would be super awesome. Subscribe, share it, all that stuff. So at any rate, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the support, for the few of you guys that are going to support us. And again, I'm learning in all of this stuff, so hopefully I can learn from you guys as well.